This is Capitola, a coastal city in California not far from Santa Cruz. The journey here was accompanied by heavy rain and storms. I am here to meet the shaman, Brant Secunda. Brant said he would try to fix the weather for filming the next day. Our meeting was scheduled for sunrise. As we arrived at dawn, the skies turned blue and the sun began to shine despite the weather forecast. Shamanism is an ancient culture deriving from Central Asia and America. There is evidence of shamanic ceremonies dating back to 10,000 BC. The world, according to the shaman, is seen as a tree built in 3 divisions: the underworld, the roots; the middle, the trunk; and the upper, the leaves. Shamanic elements are recognizable in various cultures. The word shaman means he who knows. The shaman heals, prophesizes, preaches, sings, dances, and plays. His job is to create harmony between man and nature. Where there is harmony, there is healing for the tribe.
The day after my 18th birthday, I left New Jersey and I went to Mexico. I traveled around America first a little bit, and I wound up in Ixtlan. There I met a Huichol Indian school teacher. He told me I could go to his family's village, but it was a 5-day walk. And I thought, well, if I can grow up in New York, I can survive, I could survive. And so I began my journey. It was very difficult. There you're in the middle of the Sierra Madre Mountains. And on the 3rd day of my journey, I became completely lost, disorientated, dehydrated, and I went unconscious. And the next thing I knew, there was a group of Indians standing over me, sprinkling water onto my face. And they were telling me the old shaman of their village had had a dream about me 2 days earlier, and they had been sent out to rescue me and bring me back to their village. And so soon after that I met Don Jose Matsua, who adopted me as his grandson, and he put me through a 12-year apprenticeship. We're gathered here and at the Dance of the Deer Foundation to, we say, to complete ourselves as human beings, to find our life. Why don't we talk a little bit about what it is, the way of shamanism and the way of living on this altar of Mother Earth, and how by living a normal life can transform ourselves. We started together, Don Jose and I, the Dance of the Deer Foundation. And this is a foundation to preserve the economic and cultural survival of the Huichols. This is what we're here to experience and to practice and to experience ourselves, this inherent connection that we have as people to Mother Earth. One of the things that Don Jose really wanted me to do was to help share with the people what I had learned. And he really emphasized that because I personally did not really want to. I was kind of a shy, quiet person. And the thought of having to teach people and to be with groups of people, I was not overjoyed with that idea. We say that that sunlight lives in our hearts, lives in the hearts of every person, no matter where we live, no matter what culture we might be from, no matter where we might find ourselves. We all are connected to the sun. Without the sun, no one could live on this beautiful planet of Mother Earth. And so shamanic cultures around the world base their whole life upon this simple truth of being connected to Father, Son in the sky. Take the light.
I was very interested in Native American traditions. I found that a lot of the traditions that were around me not filling my heart in the way it needed to be filled. And a friend of mine told me about Brant and that he had studied with the Huichols for 12 years and that I should meet him. So I went to a workshop back east and I was on a work-study program. And I only attended Brant's workshop and the deer dance ceremony. And the deer dance ceremony just felt so good in my heart that when he passed out brochures for a 10-day intensive workshop in Mexico, I had to go.
Remember that healing is made up in 3 parts of healing ourselves, healing our circle, our community, and healing all that lives on Mother Earth.
And after I started studying a little bit, I was diagnosed with severe cervical dysplasia, and there were cancer cells on my cervix, and I called Brant right away. And he started the healings on me, and in about a 4-month period, he had done 4 healings, and I went back and was completely cleared. I hadn't used any allopathic Western medicine to help with the cancer cells. That was an experience that you don't forget.
I give thanks for my life here on this beautiful day. Tate Harenare, Grandmother Ocean.
We would call in English intuition. The Huichols give form to this intuition or our higher self. And they say our higher self or intuition is the deer. The deer is seen as inside of the hearts of a human being. That every human being has a deer heart, that we're part deer. We see the deer, and we say that when the sun was born, to celebrate the light, the deer did a beautiful circle dance at the mountain where the sun was born. It's such an important part of Huichol shamanism. The deer is the main ally, the main spirit helper of not only the shaman, but all of the Huichol people. After I finished my apprenticeship and I came up to America, and I took a group of 40 people from my ongoing group that I had started. We were walking and a big buck, a big male deer came from the mountain. And first I thought maybe I'm having a vision, so I was quiet looking. And everyone started yelling, "Hey, there's a deer!" So we all stopped. We were just, totally taken by this beautiful deer. And he marched over to me and jumped up on my shoulders, like put his paws on my shoulders and embraced me. He put his mouth into my mouth, and I took that power of the deer that way. And then I held his tail, because for the Huichols, the tail is very sacred as medicine. And then he went to the back of the line and marched with us for about 1 hour. The deer waited for his power and left. As you're rattling, try to visualize energy, kupuri, coming into your body, into your heart, bringing you power, bringing you life force and energy. Just a simple act of using a sacred rattle, which is sacred voice or voice of the spirit, makes us more aware, makes us more alert. And that's why we like to use that sacred rattle. All right, so here we go. As one heart, as one spirit. And imagine yourself in the America.
I was an athlete in my younger years, professional triathlete, which is a sport of swimming, biking, and running. The biggest race in our sport is called the Ironman. And it's a very long event that takes over 8 hours to complete for the top people. And I couldn't win. I was second a couple times, third, fifth. After 6 years of trying to win, I saw an advertisement for a workshop in Mexico that was going to be teaching about a way of life that came from the Indians in that area, the Huichol Indians. And what really caught my attention was the picture in this ad of the two great shamans that were going to be leading this workshop. One was 110-year-old Huichol Indian Don Jose, and the other was his adopted grandson, Brant Secunda. And they just had a look on their face that was very peaceful and powerful. And it was a combination of qualities that I just had never seen, and especially my world of athletics. I was really drawn by the look on these two great shamans' face. And in the middle of the race that year, it was my 7th Ironman, I was battling it out with the man who was the favorite. And we took the lead. We were on a pace that was going to set a world's record. And one of us was going to be the champion, and he started to go faster. And I began to doubt myself, you know, with all those thoughts that hold you back. I can't do it. This guy's stronger than I am. I should have done different training. I should have picked a different job. You know, all the stuff that doesn't help you out in those moments. In that, my mind went quiet. And in the instant my mind went quiet, the picture, or that image of Don Jose and Brant came back to me. And I just got this strength. You know, like, hey, life is good. I don't have to win this thing to have a beautiful life. I don't have to be the champion to be a good human being. And I just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I ran with this guy, this other athlete, great athlete, until about the final 10 minutes of the race. We competed 8 hours side by side, and then I had the good luck to pull away. And I went on to win. The best thing about that day is that I made a connection with Brant. And it was shortly after that I went down to Mexico and went to one of Brant's workshops. It was a 10-day retreat. And in that time, from the very first moment I heard him drumming and rattling, I knew that I had come home to something that I had been searching for my whole life.
Imagine yourself on a journey, on a shamanic journey into the Nerika, into the doorway. We say to find your life, to complete yourself a little bit more as a two-legged, as a human being.
Brant is a contemporary shaman, one of the last. He acquired his skills through an extended shamanic apprenticeship in Mexico. Brant says every person has a guiding spirit surrounding us who aid us throughout our lives. Brant sees nature as having a consciousness exactly like man. The healing process takes place in a journey, the passage. During the shamanic journey, the spirits become embodied in life. In order to embark on this journey, the brain needs to be in a state of trance achieved by continuous drumming and the use of rattles.
When you want to go into an altered state of being, it's easier than with your eyes closed. And you imagine a doorway in front of your heart. And you travel into that doorway. And there, when there's a certain silence and a certain way to be, then you can hear the Ancient One speaking to your heart and speaking to your soul. And when there's that certain quiet, then sometimes colors can come, songs can come from the Creator. Feel how the sound affects your body. Feel how the sacred sound of the rattle affects your soul in a good way, in a positive way. A lot of my apprenticeship was very simply just living with the Huichols and living with Don Jose and his family, going to gather firewood. Very simple. Planting corn, harvesting the corn, and just being a normal person there in the Huichol Sierra.
I went down to Mexico and I met Brant there, and he was there with his teacher, Don Jose Matsua, and to watch Brant, how he was with his teacher, was extremely moving for me. To see their connection and their relationship was so real and so genuine. And the appreciation and the love was mutual.
Well, you know, I used to ask Don Jose, how does it work, grandfather? And he would kind of go, nobody knows, but if you're lucky, it works. Hey, hey, hey. When we rattle, when we drum, just those sacred sounds connect us to our world around us, to our environment. To become a healer in the Huichol tradition, first you learn to dream, and to really be able to dream of the deer, for instance. You learn to have mystical dreams of traveling through what the Huichols call a nerica, a doorway, a passageway, which connects our hearts to all of creation. Try to remember a dream, and then we'll work with that tomorrow morning. But try, if you can, to remember at least one dream that you'll have for tonight. Visualization or imagery is very real. It's a viable health alternative. This is something that shamanic cultures all over the world, not just the Huichols, they have employed this technique of visualization for millennium, for thousands of years. And it's not like in America where someone can just put up a sign that they're a doctor or whatever, a healer. But there in Huichol land, it goes by your reputation if you're a shaman. Does it rain or not when you make your ceremony? Does the healing work or not?
My first summer with him, we were up at Mount Shasta, and he had sent people out on vision quest. And on Mount Shasta, you never know, that mountain is so powerful. The weather can change like this. And we went out one day, and it was sunny and beautiful, and then the clouds came, and then it turned into a hailstorm, and it was snowing in the middle of August. Brant started to chant. The sky just opened up. Outside of the circle, I saw snow. Above the circle, I saw stars, and you could see the clear circle right around the ceremony area. It was amazing.
A lot of my apprenticeship was to go to these places, sometimes fasting, no food and no water, and developing a relationship with the world of nature. This was a big, big part of my apprenticeship, was to develop a kinship with the ancestors, the elemental gods like the fire, the earth, the water, and the air. Water represents the fertility of the earth. Without water, we couldn't survive here. That's what makes this earth so special. And this earth is 65% water, about. So is a human being. We are a mirror of our world around us. And that's what the Huichols always say. We are a mirror of the gods. We are a mirror of our world. So the earth has 65% water, we have 65% water. The earth is mostly ocean water, and so is our bodies are also made up of salt water. It's one of the main minerals of the body. So every human being is basically carrying grandmother ocean inside of them.
I see a lot of my friends whose families, you know, the kids do one thing and the parents do another thing, and they never really have time for it. And so for us as a father and a son to go to the ocean and pray, we're trying to connect with something greater than just our own lives, and to ask for something good for ourselves and our family and our communities. And anybody who's looked at the ocean, you can feel that. You just, you know, I just try to breathe in that beauty, and, you know, whatever might have been bothering me 5 minutes ago, it gets shifted and changed, and like I said, it brings me back to that sense of hope or joy.
When we walk on the earth, try to imagine, try to visualize the love of Mother Earth coming up into your body, into your heart. The earth below us, and the sky above. And so we are in the middle as a human being, trying to find our place here in this beautiful world.
When I'm going on a walk, I'll talk to the Mother Earth. Then I tell her I love her. And I thank her for all that she gives me, for the love that she gives me. And I thank her for all the food that grows so that I can eat, and the food that come out on the trees, and for the beautiful flowers that are blooming in the springtime.
Mother Earth is alive. Mother Earth is a living, breathing, conscious organism with thoughts, with feelings, because love is the power of Mother Earth. grandfather fire, Tatewari, is a part person. And he taught all of the other ancient ancestors to leave arrows at the different sacred places. Prayer arrows, you might call them in English. And so he taught them to leave beautiful arrows there. And when they left the arrows there, all the energy came out of the earth. And that's what we see here. Anyone can go and work with the fire, try to see that the fire is also alive. We say the fire is the first shaman, the first healer. That is grandfather fire. And we try to see, to look at a beautiful fire. So in my case, I studied with Don Jose, and then at the end of my apprenticeship, he did a special transmission of power ceremony. Then the Huichols gather around the fire, and then they sometimes will test you to lift the face of the fire up in front of all of the shaman.
Spending time with light and the first light, fire, it's extremely basic and elemental, but it reconnects me to what is true and real in life. Well, there's an exercise that Brant has taught us about telling our dreams to the fire. And it's something that we do every day. And it's a way for us to connect first thing with the fire. Brant says it has the power of wisdom. Connecting with the fire reminds me as to why I'm here.
We try to honor the Great Spirit. We try to honor the spirit of nature as alive. And that ultimate objective is not only personal healing, but planetary healing, to heal the earth. And that is shamanism, to see that everything is alive, not just human beings, but all of life.
When I step outside, I look at the sky, and I breathe it into my heart, and I find myself on the earth, and I remember who I am and why I'm here. I'm not just here to drive over the hill to teach. I'm not just here to run to the supermarket. I'm not just here to be mom, but I'm here as a child of the earth to honor life.
These are tools that everybody, no matter what culture, what religion, they're part of who we are as human beings, to be able to use these tools.
Brant sees his son as his successor and is training him accordingly. In the shamanic tradition, the healing power is passed down from father to son.
I'm a student here at the University of California at Santa Cruz, and I'm studying environmental studies, somewhat connected to shamanism. I was born into this tradition and born into this path, and so when I was born, my dad initiated me into an apprenticeship. So my whole life, in a sense, has been an apprenticeship, learning the traditions, learning the culture, learning this ancient way of shamanism.
Nico will offer the sacred kopala. Soon after he was born, I took him to Mexico, and Don Jose gave Nico his Huichol name, which is Matsua, which was Don Jose's name.
I actually have memories of that. Memories being down there, even though I was so young. I remember sitting in the village with Don Jose and the other children and playing in the dirt. So humble, and that's something that's really respected, and that's, in the modern world, it's often lost.
Tawarika, we call to you this good day. Kena Tawarika Ari. He's a very spiritual young man. His whole life is about shamanism and the sacred way.
Part of learning is learning to see energy for what we would call God or the Great Spirit is energy, life force, kupuri. Learning to dream, learning to connect your dreams, to empower yourself, to empower others and your family and the world at large. Every breath that I take, remembering The eagle goddess is something that the Huichols teach, that Don Jose taught my father and he has taught me. And so that's a sense of carrying on the tradition.
The Huichols love him as well and respect him. There's a little Huichol violin and guitar that we play during certain ceremonies, like at the harvest time, for example, and Nico plays that. He's the leading.
A lot of my life has been traveling and seeing beautiful places, connecting with places of power, mountains and lakes and rivers, and leaving offerings and making prayers. And through me, on some level, I can bring some of that and give a sense of greater awareness to the students here as well, so that they see that there is more than just this university, more than just Santa Cruz, more than just the United States. There's a greater world. There's more than even just us as human beings.
Nico has been training since he was born, and he already knows how to heal, and he doesn't do in public yet.
You know, most people don't know what their calling is or where they belong until much later in life, so I feel that I already know what my sense of place is on this earth, my sense of place, what I am here to do.
It is my hope, it is my wish that my son, Nico, will take over and pass me by. Even I hope he's better than I am.
I hope to carry on for my dad, and I hope to learn, and I'm trying my best every day to learn something new, to learn a little bit more just so I can keep going one step at a time. And so every day is a learning process, and every day is something new to understand, something new to connect and to feel a part of. So like Don Jose said, he said that, you know, when you stop learning, then your life is over.
My students and I here in the United States, we are very close, and we're like a village in a sense. We don't all live right together, but we're trying to use the Huichol model of a community.
My children were born into the tradition, and this is their tradition. This is what they're growing up, learning about the gods and the goddesses, and also it gives them a beautiful community to grow up in.
It's like a little Huichol village, which is kind of what we try to make every seminar. And when I grew up, I wasn't the only children at a retreat or at a seminar my dad was teaching. There's often 20, 30 children there.
We pray together, we go on pilgrimages together, we laugh together.
It's really beautiful for them to grow up that way, because I don't have blood family living around here.
We tried to create a safe place where people can feel safe.
For me, it's so important to have a teacher. You know, I know that I'm learning. I don't feel like I will ever know enough.
All the work in Huichol shamanism is through the heart. Everything that you do is through your heart. All the journeying, all the spiritual traveling, Brant taught us how to go through our heart.
If I could take just even one sentence of what he is saying and live that 100% in my life, I would be ecstatic. People ask me, well, how has Brant affected your life? And I say, well, you can look at any area of my life and it's been touched by him.
Even with our problems that we may have, this gift of our life is so special and is so sacred. And this is what we try to teach.
I'm departing from Santa Cruz Bay and the small tribe Brant has created. Here, next to the ocean, these people have found a community and a togetherness which enable them to live their lives connected to their true selves and to nature. The powerful connection between nature and man, that same ancient wisdom, is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago, and perhaps even more so.
and